we needed it. That's all we wanted was to show everybody that we wasn't the heads that they treat us like. And so this one was kind of like, hey, Roger Goodell, whatever, like, bro, we got you. We're good.
Welcome to Sports Review. I'm Jesse Valdez with Mr. David Vito here. We're talking UTFL in a big rivalry matchup.
Yeah, all week long it was rivalry week for the UTFL. A lot of topics to get into. The playoff pictures finally come together. I think the hottest topic that everyone's talking about today is there was a game that was played but not played, if that makes sense, Jesse, as there was a forfeit between the Knights and War Chiefs. The War Chiefs get a win, the Knights get a forfeit. Just what was your reaction? What have you heard from the UTFL around the league this week?
So here's my reaction. Audience predictions. We predicted when we went in and we're talking these lower level teams.
Yep.
The Knights were predicted to be the lower level team to make a comeback into the season and prove something. That's actually not the case from here on out.
Yeah.
A team that doesn't even show up to play this game, forfeits, that's commitment down the drain.
Correct.
They pretty much sealed the deal for this season.
And it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out for next week, because next week there's a lot of key playoff matchups that could determine the playoff seedings, and the Knights really aren't going to the tournament, basically, and we'll see how they will play the game next week. But I mean, it's very disappointing to have a forfeit, but I mean, it could be worse. I mean, are we happy that there wasn't a forfeit during week one and continuously week? This is the first forfeit of the year. I mean, that's got to be okay, but it's not okay if that makes sense.
I would say it's never okay. This is commitment. This is team commitment. Players are relying on you. You paid your dues. You got to go with it, whether you're going to win or lose. You have to go with it. You got to commit with it. You got to go all the way, regardless of what the outcome is. And so this week we gave those lower teams a bone. We said, hey, instead of following the action, we're going to follow you guys. We're going to follow the bottom teams. And for the Knights not to show up, it's like, hey, that's why we're not following you.
And how about a team that has been showing up all year? This is the Outlaws. The Outlaws get a 36-6 victory today as they're climbing up the standings, trying to inch their way possibly to a top 3 finish. What do you think about the Outlaws getting a good dominating victory today?
They're still in it. They're kind of a team that's unspoken because of the fact that everybody's just like, you know what? That schedule for them is just only going to get harder now going forward. And it's like, in reality, there's 3-way, maybe 2-way going into the championship. So, I mean, the Outlaws, they really need to continue to win.
Well, speaking of the 2 of the 3 teams that you're talking about, the top 3, the Space Force are obviously going to be the number 1 seed, most likely. But they had a bye week this week, and the Fallout and Braves are the 2 teams you're talking about between a 3-team race with the Space Force. The Fallout got a 14-13 victory this week, but the Fallout wasn't fully there, and the Braves just kept it alive some way, somehow towards the end.
And this changes a lot for everybody. We're saying the Braves, Fallouts, and the Space Force, those are the teams, but Braves, you lost by a point, and not only did the Braves lose to a point, they lost to a team that wasn't really even there. They came with only 8 players. Eventually they got 9, which means nobody was on the sideline. And yet the Fallout still came with a win.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about these top teams, where does that put the Braves from here on out?
It's going to be interesting because last week we were saying so many good things about the Braves. Like, this could be the team that competes with the Fallout, could be a team that knocks the Space Force out of the rocket, to say, as they're trying to find a way to who's going to be the top team. And the Braves, is this a message that, you know what, maybe we jumped the gun a little bit. Maybe they're not quite ready to be that top 2, even top team of the UTFL this year.
I'm seeing a 2-way race, but honestly, there's that big pot in the middle where everybody's kind of up and down. It can either go one way or the other. And will that make a difference once it finally settles? Maybe, maybe not. So.
How about we jump into some very exciting news. A team that got their first win of the season. The Reapers got a big win, as Jesse. They knocked off the Wolves 13-12 today, getting win number 1 of the season. It's got to be a good feeling to always get that quote-unquote monkey off your back, get that first win, and now you have an opportunity, if the dominoes fall your way, to make a playoff spot.
We were in the huddle and he was like, hey, just do something. and I found the corner, and I read the weakness on my corner, and just end zoned it and sidelined and caught it and checked my feet, and they were in and sealed the deal, man. It was great.
We come out here, we appreciate playing, we appreciate the people that are across from us, and we love to play football.
Well, you heard it from the winning squad, and you also heard it from the losing squad, from the coach, from the Wolves. He basically gave a good speech.
Yeah.
Saying exactly what I was saying that you shouldn't do. They're coming into this game regardless of where they stand in the playoffs. I mean, playoffs or not, standings, they're going to play football. It's a commitment.
That's exactly what the coach said, and you can see the passion that he loves to be in this league and just loves being around the game of football.
It was such a close game. It was back and forth. The Wolves had a chance to win that game, and I'm telling you guys, being in that, where you guys were in that predicament, I would have just blitzed everybody, including the corners. You know, get that safety, win that game, call it a day.
And next week, the Reapers, they get the Knights on their schedule.
If you show up, you know what I mean? So
and so looking at the standings right now, the Space Force are locked in at the top seed right now. There's a lot of things that could change though with next week. With the Fallout taking on the Outlaws, it's going to be a battle for second place. But if some way, somehow the Outlaws get a win and the Space Force lose, there could be a tie for first place, which would be very interesting. Now looking towards the bottom of the standings, you've got the Wyoming 2-3, Spartans 2-3, Reapers 1-4. If the Reapers find a way to knock off the Knights, go to 2-4, and Wyoming loses to the War Chiefs, Spartans lose to the Space Force. There's a three-way tie for that final final playoff spot for 7th. So much left to be decided with 1 week left to play. That's what you gotta love if you're a fan of any sport, especially a fan of the UTFL. So much can change going into next week's final games of the season.